How's it going, everybody? I'm Ryan, and with me today is...
I'm Casey.
And Marcin.
And we're going to talk about video games. This is the first of what will hopefully become many not regular episodes in which we just talk bullshit about games and current gaming culture and what we've been stoked about. And, you know, especially now is a good time, for it being the beginning of a new year. We've got a whole new year of advancements and games to look forward to.
I don't know what is on the docket for 2015 as far as releases go.
That's the question.
What's coming up?
What's coming up that's original and new? That's the
good question. I know that actually, wow, I have not paid attention to what's supposed to be coming out this year.
Do you have here's a question for you. Are you doing any Steam early access games?
Right now, I think
I'm gonna look at my Steam library.
I have a couple of that were early access. One of which is one that I kickstarted.
Yeah.
Cave Story.
Oh, wait, that game exists already.
Or not Cave Story, Castle Story.
Castle Story. I remember playing that at PAX. That's the one where you got little yellow builder dudes.
Yeah. And they recently completely revamped the engine and the way that you...
Castle World. Castle World?
No, it's Castle Story.
Is it Castle Story?
Yeah, it's like...
Sourpod. Sourpod created that game.
Yes. You're on these floating islands, and you mine, and there's like a sandbox mode where you can just build your stuff. Or there's a survival mode where every night these weird little rock creatures come and try and fuck your shit up. And so I've had access to this game for, I don't know, probably a year now, I guess.
Or more. I played it at PAX last year.
It's been at PAX for several years, and it was, I know the first few times I played it, it was probably like 3 years ago.
Yeah, we played it, and then...
It was pretty rough. It was definitely like alpha.
And then I picked it up, because I also kickstarted it, because it looked real sweet. And it was pretty rough when I played it, but all the core mechanics were there.
Well, and you can definitely see how much fun, as a finished game, how much fun it's going to be, too, because it hits all the right buttons as far as, like, the building part.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's...
Tower defense-ish kind of... Whatever the main combat, whatever you want to call the main combat thing that it does.
The building sucked me into it, and the way things are destroyed. Like, I want to play that game multiplayer. Oh, because it's
so bad. It's physics enabled too, isn't it? Like the if you knock out a brick partway down the wall, it'll knock over the wall. Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
Well, that's one of the things I don't know if I didn't like about it. I thought the building was a little bit too complex in a lot of ways, because you got the 2x1 bricks, and you had to stagger them in order to make a building so it looks realistic. It's like, but then it's like there's so many. In order to build a building, you have to build like 4 walls, and then once you get too high, you have to start building staircases so you can get up higher.
Yeah, and that's something that I didn't really like about it as well. It's almost like the pathfinding is a little weird.
You need good pathfinding, and unlike Minecraft, where first person you can jump around where you need to go at any given point, and it's pretty easy to navigate. When you're relying on the little guys to move around and get to where they need to go, it takes a little bit of time.
Yeah. I don't know how many times, and even recently. So recently, they as I understand, like pretty much rebuilt the engine from the ground up, and made a lot of changes to the core behavior of things. And even still, I find in a lot of cases I've got a dude assigned to a task that isn't done yet, and he's standing there like, and a lot of times it's probably because like.
You fucked it up.
Yeah, I fucked up somehow, but it's not made really clear, and such as the way that early access.
I was going to
goes.
say that's kind of par for the course. I've tried very hard in recent times to avoid early access games because I realized that what would end up happening a lot of the time is I'd get super excited about playing it. I'd play it in early access, and it was fun, and it kind of scratched that itch. But then by the time it came out, I'd already moved on to something else, and so I never actually played it when it was in its final state where they would want you to play it. But I had still paid for it, so I guess they went either way.
Yeah, right.
I mean, but I was missing out on it. You got to play it at a point, whether or not it was done or not. But you got your gameplay out of it.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then-
I'm really resisting the urge to get too much into Star Citizen, for example, right now, because I've been following that with the Kickstarter, and they've been releasing it in modules, releasing bits and pieces of it for people to play around with and to test and things like that. And so they have a multiplayer dogfighting thing. They have the hangar where you can look at all your shit. I don't know how familiar you guys are with Star Citizen. I'm really like resisting the temptation to play it a bunch because there's so much that's still going into it, and it's like I kind of want to wait until I don't want to get burnt out on it now and feel like I'm done playing it by the time it comes out, which is definitely something that happens for me.
And I know that's one that you've been particularly stoked for.
Yeah, when I didn't know that it was going to be at PAX last year. That was a
surprise.
I didn't know they were going to. It was at the
all.
Logitech booth. They had they released the dogfighting module for the first time, and it was at the Logitech booth.
It was definitely
I had no idea.
Check out our joysticks.
Yeah.
Also, there's the game here.
Right. It's like, oh, sweet. But that one's I really like what they're doing with it so far. The flight model's pretty cool, and the ships are amazing. All the
detail, the visuals,
ship design, and cocktail design.
Cocktail designs, yeah.
Are pretty fantastic. So.
Still a lot of memory residuals from New Year's Eve. There, cocktail designs. But you bring up early access. Are there what early access titles have you bought into, and have you been burned to lead you to?
I'm trying to think of some more.
The real question, I think, is how many early access games get done?
Mm-hmm.
That's the question. I always play early access no matter what I fear about burnout, because I don't believe that they're actually going to ever get done.
Sure.
They already have my money. They don't have an incentive to actually finish the game.
I can definitely see that perspective. I'd like to think that they're making it, for the passion of it, and they want to see it to completion. But, I can't remember what I was going to say. I feel like it happens less frequently in early access specifically. Like if we're using the term early access,
are we talking about?
Then we're talking about Steam.
Okay, good.
Right. Yeah.
And
I agree with that.
I think that happens more frequently with Kickstarted games.
Yeah.
Where a developer bites off more than they can chew, or I've seen the story time and time again where they didn't estimate correctly, or they just don't know how to budget, and everyone ends up really pissed off and wanting a refund, but they've just depleted this $500,000 that they got in a Kickstarter campaign.
Yeah. To the consumer, it looks like nothing. Yeah, because they've gotten nothing done.
Do you guys kickstart games often? Do you have any? Do you have a bunch that are outstanding?
I
definitely have a bunch that are still.
I have a bunch that are outstanding, and I have some that I don't foresee ever actually playing, even if they're released. And I have a couple that I'm actually excited for when I see what they do. And then I'm guessing I have tons that I've kickstarted over the years that I've not heard a single peep from them. And I think that's a big part of Kickstarter, especially, is you gotta have the constant updates to your subscribers, even if it's just crap, saying we're still doing stuff. Because otherwise it feels like they just took your money and ran with it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you and especially, with indie studios using this as a platform to jumpstart their games and get development, on the ground, well. It's I don't know. It's really, really important for them to just keep pushing. It's like, here's some more screenshots. There's one that I backed, Hyper Light Drifter.
Yes.
It looks like a gorgeous game, and I fell in love with the art style. They're getting Disaster Piece to do the music, which I love Disaster Piece. And they issue here's screenshots from the latest build. Just little things like that, and I know probably a lot of indie devs don't have people who are marketers with them or anything like that. Don't really know. Oh, hey, I should probably
But
keep...
Have the people who are making Hyper Light Drifter have they published anything in the past?
I don't think so.
No,
was it an existing studio that just?
No,
it's a
I'm
new studio.
pretty sure it's new.
I'm pretty sure it's new, but Hyper Light Drifter, I think it's getting a lot of attention. Isn't it coming out for PS4 as well?
Yes, it's coming out for PS4, Vita. It's coming out for. I mean, they saw an opportunity and a huge adoption, rate. Like, people were really stoked on the idea, and they are putting it out on like everything. I think even one of their stretch goals was like Wii U, and they hit that. So, as it was Hyper Light Drifter. Because the other one that I have outstanding is Radio the Universe. And,
I don't think I've heard about that one.
Oh, it's a gorgeous, like, kind of Zelda-y style. Really, really cool. Again, that pixel-style indie game that's so popular now. But, Hyper Light Drifter had quoted delivery of, Game Rewards. And at this point, I just don't pay any attention to date on those. But they had quoted, like, June 2014. And then they got, oh, hey, Sony's interested, and hey, this is going on, and they've been showing it off, and they did recently do like a beta access kind of thing that you could buy into.
For a little bit more.
You know what?
A little bit more.
If they're posting updates, it's clear they're making progress on the game.
Yeah, exactly. As long as I get to play this thing at some point.
Yeah. You don't kickstart it with the expectation that you're going to play it on a particular date. And,
right.
And I think, shoot, I was on a roll kind of overextending kickstarting things for a while.
You jumped on the Kickstarter bandwagon hard.
I hit a bunch of stuff that I don't know that I'm even that like interested in playing it anymore. but it was more like I want to support this process and like I want this thing to exist kind of a thing. There is a one that I haven't been paying close attention to, but it's the one where you're like on Mars and it's like you're exploring different little. It's like I don't even know that I can describe it well because I cannot remember the name of it either.
Perfect.
It sounds rad. Anything that has to do with space exploration, I'm totally down for.
Another one that I think is a good example of what you were talking about with Hyper Light Drifter is the one. The reason I asked if it was an existing studio is because I kickstarted Abduction, which is the Cyan who made Myst.
Oh, yeah.
Kickstarted
I remember hearing about that.
To do a new adventure game, like an original IP adventure game, not in the Myst series. And I was like, yup, I'm all over that.
Right.
And then partly because I want to see what they come up with. They're an existing studio. They've been making. I didn't realize this, but they've been making games this whole time. They've been doing.
Really?
I want to say they've been doing like mobile games or casual games or something.
Huh.
They started a different. Yeah, and so
I'd love to see another Myst-esque kind of thing out of them.
That's something that's been sitting out there for a while, but they post regular updates, and I have no concerns that that's not going to come out.
Right, because they're established.
Because I know they can publish games, and
yeah.
So, I feel like it's a Kickstarter is particularly a win for studios like that, where they there's a game that they want to make that they can't necessarily get big publisher support for.
Sure.
And so, but they have an existing fan base. Look at everything Tim Schafer's done on there.
Yeah, right. Yeah, didn't that one game break the record for
Broken
Age, I think?
That was one of the experiences that really soured me on Kickstarter, though. Broken Age, yeah. One, because the game is awful. But besides
I've heard
that,
good things about it, but okay.
Well, if you like point and click adventure games, it might be good.
Do you not like point and click?
I don't like.
Doesn't?
Why
did you not grow up with the Sierra games?
I could never. Maybe it's because I'm Polish. I never got them. I'm like there was always some combination of fucking items that went together in somebody's mind somewhere, but never in my mind.
Dude, I always loved that. That was one of my favorite things ever of those old like King's Quest games.
Yeah, King's Quest I enjoy, but the thing is, like, yes, that was great when I was a kid, but now I got a wife. I'm gonna be having a kid soon. I don't have time to like chickens to pulleys. Yeah, I don't have time to like 5 things versus other things and 25 different combinations.
Look, I don't have time for the Sierra MacGyver bullshit.
Exactly.
I actually went back and played King's Quest 6.
Yeah, I also
so good.
played
games
So
because I was
good.
like, whoa, and it was the greatest. I'd never beat it when I was a kid,
Mhm.
so I went and played it, and I was like, I'm gonna kick
Yeah,
your
the
ass,
King's
Quest.
that was a lot of fun.
I have the fondest memories
It's not a knock against Broken Age.
ages and ages ago on my grandpa's Mac, black and white Mac, mind you.
Oh, the old,
Like the old
I used to play
Macs.
Wizardry with my buddy on that.
Trying to guess the answers to the age questions in order to get into Leisure Suit Larry.
Yeah.
Oh my god, man.
Oh, shut up, phone.
That's
I probably should have muted my phone.
that's all right.
Whatever.
But no, Broken Age. So
Yeah, what?
my problem with it was
I didn't play it, so I can't.
Yeah,
play
It looked really pretty.
like I guess I didn't back it, but I played it. It was okay. But my problem with them on Kickstarter was that they asked for something not that ridiculous, like $600,000.
Yeah.
They got $2 million. They broke all the records. They built half a game, and then they were like, "Oh, we're out of money. Could you guys maybe early access us another game out of here?"
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, they didn't actually finish the game they wanted to. The studio came out, and I don't know if you're familiar with it, but Double Fine also came out and released like 15 other games simultaneously.
They really have been busy, at least as a publisher.
As a publisher. But they've put out these 15 early access games, one of which I bought, Space Base DF9, which was a great game. I played when I first got it. And 2 months later, I get an email saying, "Oh, we're not going to be doing this anymore. We have to funnel our money back into Broken Age."
And you're like, fuck Broken Age. this
Exactly.
bullshit game.
I want to play the sweet space station builder. But no. So they, as a publisher, it feels like they've gone out and collected all this money from people for game ideas and then just never delivered on anything. And so they really hurt me on the Kickstarter delivery problem.
I can kind of see where you're coming from on that. I still kind of and I mean, you not being into the point and click adventure games won't really understand my stance on this, but I kind of come from the camp of Tim Schafer can pretty much do no wrong.
No, I do love Tim
suspect, too,
Schafer.
that there's probably a lot of stuff about that information wise, people who kickstarted it just don't have access to.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sure. I'm
like
sure.
a company
Of
like
course.
that isn't fucking with your money just to piss you off.
No.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean, like they're not. They know that they'll get scorned from people.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is like because it's Tim Schafer and he's I could say a legend in the sphere. He should know where the money's going. Like where are you actually?
Haven't you been following his Twitter? He's just like eating it or something. Like I don't. He swims in it every day.
The one thing I'm curious about the whole Broken Age and all that jazz is at the same time there was a push where they were going to document every single thing they did and release it as a special Kickstarter's
like a documentary
DVD.
kind of thing. Yeah.
So I want to see that. I want to see if they can document what they did with my money or everybody's money.
It's just Tim Schafer shoveling MARCIN'S money into a
but
fireplace.
did
Just your money.
you donate on that level to receive?
No,
it?
I didn't even.
Then
back
you'll never
it.
know. You'll
I
never.
didn't even. I did share it, like I gave it to all my friends, but I never backed it. I just couldn't do it. I
Yeah.
couldn't get myself to do it.
I backed Clang, the Neil Stevenson sword fighting one.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I
the
saw
one that
it.
they
And
canceled.
and that got canceled. And I thought he did a really good job of explaining why that happened and like how that worked.
He got too high and made too big of a feature list. Is
Well,
what happened.
sure. No, but what really happened is they want money to produce something that's going to get the attention of people who can actually give them the kind of money that they need.
Yeah.
And if they produce a prototype or whatever with the Kickstarter money and no investors come running to invest the actual money that they need, they're not going to make their thing.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. And part of the reason why they would need more investors is because, it was an ambitious thing. But
I think I didn't read the whole interview with him, but I think part of it was that what he wanted out of a game is not what it sounded like it's not what gamers wanted out of a game. He wanted like a realistic feudal sword fighting simulation, and then when they actually they made a rough model of it, and they realized
it's to be fun, guys.
Oh, this is not. No wonder we moved out of that age.
We've already got like the perfect fencing simulator in Nidhogg.
That's an early start.
That's all I want.
That was
that's
early access.
I think that's on PS4 now. Or
yeah,
PS5
it's coming out.
God, it's so much fun.
I got that.
I love that.
That
was so much fun.
When that came out on Steam.
Yeah, I have it on Steam. I actually played it on the channel. Link somewhere. With
Sports Friends, that's another one that I got.
Oh my god, Sports Friends looks so much fucking fun.
Yeah,
is that all sorts of good stuff. That only on PS4 or
no?
Is that
I got it. It's both.
Seriously?
Yeah, I think what is it? Johann Sebastian Joust is only. I think that's only for PlayStation because they couldn't get. Because it's a pain in the ass to get any of those controllers working.
I will give
someone who's been working with Wiimotes on Bluetooth on the laptop. I understand where they're coming from.
Yeah. But I will, just as a quick shameless plug, I plugged my PS4 controller into my PC. Worked perfectly out of the box.
Nice.
Unlike any other PlayStation controller before that.
Really?
And I have had no issues.
That's awesome. I didn't know you could do that.
I didn't bother.
Yeah, I didn't know that it had
it worked right away.
Support. That's awesome.
Right away, no issues.
That's a good step for them because shit, I've got
DualShock
360 controllers lying around here that I've been using.
It's a great controller too. The PS4 controller is fantastic.
Yeah, I finally me being the broke voice actor. I finally got to hold a PlayStation 4 controller for the first time over the holidays because a friend had a PS4 and it feels comfortable as hell.
I've always liked the
solid controller.
PlayStation controller better than the Xbox.
Yeah, I have as well. And the PlayStation Pro controller was really good. Oh no, back to Kickstarter. Yeah. One game that I thought actually did a really good run of the gamut of the Kickstarter woes and anger and okayness was Star Command. Star Command, when they first pitched it, it was this great idea. It was like, you're going to run a spaceship and you can customize your spaceship and your entire spaceship, you can click and you can move your dudes around and assign them roles, and it was going to be the perfect Star Trek simulation. And they started doing it and they realized that they didn't have any idea how to make a game. So they had all these great ideas and all this great pixel art. The pixel art was wonderful. And they sent a lot of updates of just pixel art. But then eventually the updates started like dying down. And there was no gameplay. And everyone got really upset. And then if you went to their comments page on Kickstarter, it was just pages and pages. They're like, tell us something. Yeah. Tell us something.
Do you know what they were trying to develop the game in?
I don't
what
know,
engine they were using?
I don't know. They built their own engine.
Okay.
Of course they did.
Yeah.
Of course they did.
I was going to say, these days, literally everything is Unity. Almost
not
everything.
But just about.
It's become so ubiquitous.
Yeah. Even AAA studios are starting to use Unity, which is great. Oh, yeah. I love Unity. But the point is that they didn't send out any updates. People got really pissy, and then eventually they started sending out the "we're still working on it" promise, like verbatim. That's what they said. And in 6 months, they finally released it. Like, something actually came out. It had 1/4 of the features that they promised, but it came out. And it was fun. And they've been really pushing it.
So at least there was something.
Yeah, and they've been developing it. They've been adding features. The other thing about them that really got them in trouble was halfway through, when they went into their dark phase, they ran a second Kickstarter for a PC version because it was originally iOS, and then they ran a second Kickstarter to port it to PC, and everyone was like, "You never made the first one."
Yeah, right. So you still gotta fulfill this other Kickstarter. Why should we? I mean, come on.
But they did release it, and it was a lot of fun. I played that for a couple hours, and it was good. It was fun. I'm excited. I'm probably gonna play it on PC when they release the PC version of all this stuff that they originally promised. I will probably play that. But I did not back their second Kickstarter.
You didn't back the PC one?
Nope.
So you guys have probably backed more Kickstarters in general than I have. How frequently, like, how many of the projects that you've backed are you officially burned? Like, you're boned.
Oh no, I think all of them.
Because did you back that Neil Stephenson?
The Neil Stephenson one is the only one so far where they've had to say they're just not doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Like all of the other ones that I've done, I've either gotten the reward, they've done the thing they said they were going to do, or they're
in progress
out or something because it's a game that takes a long time to make.
I've actually not had that many issues getting boned. There's been a couple Kickstarters that I've backed that later, before the actual Kickstarter period was over, they decided to cancel it, and they never charged me for it. But I don't really count that.
Yeah.
Where they decided that they just wanted too much stuff for what they were asking for, and they were like, let's just go back to the drawing board and start over.
Sure.
I mean, I think it's actually easier to tell than you might think whether something is going to succeed, like whether they're going to run away with your money.
You would think, but like
some of the game stuff.
Oh, run away with your money.
I mean, the game stuff. The game stuff is probably some of the riskiest stuff on the site.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure,
because of the time frame, and because it's sometimes it's people who've never made a game before,
right?
And whatever, and that right there is a good example. Like I probably wouldn't kickstart a game made by people who haven't made a game before.
Sure.
And although what's the dude in Madison? Joe. I kickstarted his game.
Joe Rumi.
Raise the Light, Raise the Sun?
Mekagami.
Mekagami.
Yeah.
That guy is awesome, by the way, to talk to. If you haven't gone to any of the Madison indie
I
meetups.
hung out with him at a friend's birthday party. We were at Rossi's.
He had his birthday party at my karaoke night recently in December, I think. And I've never really talked to him very much, but we've got a bunch of friends in common, and I see that he develops and stuff. But.
Yeah, I just saw some friend of mine posted his thing on Facebook, and I was like, what? A developer in Madison needs my help?
Yeah, Mekagami is actually really sweet.
Just let me step into this phone booth.
I back that, and I'm excited to get it, because I think he's going to finish it. Because it's just one guy working on it.
He was talking about it a little bit at the birthday party, and he
him?
He had just gotten done like spending a ton of time on it, so he was kind of burned out. But I think it is just him. Yeah. I think one of the Kickstarter things was to find someone to do music for it, like one of those stretch goals.
Yeah, he's not great at music.
I know someone who does music composition.
Yeah. I don't know him.
I know him. I can introduce you.
You should tell him I'll do music for his game.
All right. I'll tell him. But no, that game.
I know if he has the money for it.
Well, how much he only raised like $5,000.
I should go see what his stretch goal was for. Like,
he only raised like $5,000 for the game, so
I'll take it.
It was basically like, I gotta take care of my daughter, so give me this Kickstarter money, and all my free time is going to this game. And it looks really sweet if you have not seen it.
So, and I'll put a link somewhere to Mekagami, it's called.
He actually did a game before that, too. That was, oh man, what did he do? What game did he do, Casey? You know that game. You either Kickstarter or backed it. You're the one who told me about the game originally. It was at PAX. It was a featured PAX game, one of their first years at East.
Really?
Yeah.
One of Joe's?
Yeah.
Really?
He only did one game before that, and it was featured.
Huh.
I might not have known it was his.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Oh, I don't know.
I feel...
Thanks to the internet, I can find out.
Yeah.
You look that up and we'll revisit that.
Nowadays, that's the kind of stuff that I'm willing to kickstart if it's not like a studio or a creator who has a track record. It's going to be local people. It's gonna be people in town who I know or friends of friends or something like that, where it's more like, yeah, I'll throw $10-$20 your way just so you get the support.
Sure.
You know?
But
that feels good to do.
To throw an expert level transition into there.
Hey. Is that it right there?
Yes, it was, exactly.
Before
no, go ahead.
To it. Chronotron.
I never played Chronotron.
Oh. Well, that's what he did, and it was featured at Penny Arcade Expo 10.
Really?
Penny Arcade Expo's PAX 10.
Nice.
It was like one of the first like indie features.
Nice.
Huh. That's awesome.
So he did. He really does have some kind of.
I need to talk more to this guy.
You never get to see him because he's
making the game.
He comes out to the Inferno every once in a while, but Anyway, that transition I was talking about. So, we talk about the risks of backing, software-based kind of things. So, like video games and stuff like that. But so I know you've kickstarted some hardware stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I've not kickstarted any hardware at all, ever.
I went all in when all the VR stuff started to come out.
As far as I know, you're still going to be getting stuff that you don't even know.
Like, over the next 5 years, shit's going to just show up on my doorstep.
You're going to get those hand things,
one thing I don't like about
things?
Kickstarter, I got those.
Oh, did you?
I did.
And you sold them.
I'll talk about those. No. I'll talk about, if you want me to talk about those, I'll talk about those. I'm cagey about talking
later
about
on.
Later on. I'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
So, one of the things I don't like about Kickstarter is when they finally finish the thing they finish, they just ship it.
Yep.
Like, you have no idea when you're going to fucking get.
Oh, so you get no communication.
I mean,
if
they decide to communicate with you, they'll usually send a thing out to confirm your address and stuff like that. Before they deliver. But what did I get? I got this thing that was the dinoflagellates, the glow in the dark dinosaur thing.
What?
A dino pet. All right, don't worry about it. The point is this. The point is that they die in under like 65-degree weather or something like that. Like they're animals. They're living creatures, and you shake them and they're bioluminescent. They're super cool. Don't survive well in Wisconsin.
Wait. They sent you a living dinosaur?
So they sent me these. No. They're dinoflagellates. They're like don't worry about it. Okay. So they sent it to me while I was out of town.
Oh no.
It sat on my doorstep for 2 days.
No.
So I brought them in, and I'm like, "Oh, you're almost dead." And I was able to revive them, and
that's good.
They survived for a while, but they died over the winter because we don't get sunlight here, and there's probably not a good. They were probably destined for failure. But to talk about
super cool,
they were super cool. I would come home from work at night, and they'd be sitting in my kitchen all day.
Yeah.
And when I would close, the light would be off, and it would be dark out because it's the winter. And so when I closed the door when I got home, the vibration of me shutting my door would shake the table a little bit, and they'd glow.
That's awesome.
Hello.
That's awesome.
They were pretty cool. I might get another batch of them when summer rolls around and I actually get sunlight in my kitchen again.
Yeah, right.
Because I think it was just too much for them.
Too much cold and too much darkness.
Have you backed any hardware at all?
No, not gaming hardware.
I did not kickstart the Rift, but I ordered one. The DK one, but I ordered one from their website as soon as the Kickstarter succeeded, and got my pre-order that way. When I got the DK one, that's when I got it. So I wasn't part of the original Kickstarter push for that. And then I kickstarted a leap motion sensor. I kickstarted the Sixth Sense stem, like the Razer Hydra.
Okay, sure, yeah.
The new version of that. I bought a Hydra when I got the Rift also.
Yeah.
And then sold that and my Rift when the DK2 came out for as much as I had paid for them, which I felt like was a smart play.
It was a good return.
Except that now I'm going to have the Sixth Sense stem, and I'm going to get the Omni treadmill thing.
Oh my god!
Soon, relatively soon. I think they're showing their final version of that at CES right now,
which is this week.
Yeah. So that stuff's going to start hitting pretty soon. The thing I'm actually most excited about is the stem, because I have a lot of uses for something like that.
What is the stem?
So are you familiar with the Razer Hydra?
Yeah.
I imagine
it's
kind
that.
of like a theremin movement, kind of theremin is input.
Oh, there's so many things you can do with it. So the Razer Hydra is Sixth Sense's sensors in Razer's like a separate thing.
It was the thing that I used when I used your DK1, right?
Yes.
It's like a little electromagnet ball thing.
With the two controllers.
Yeah.
So Sixth Sense kickstarted when the Rift came out and was a big deal. Sixth Sense did a Kickstarter for a sort of a wireless version of that, because the Hydra is not wireless,
right? Sure.
And so but it's bigger than that. You can order up to 5 sensors for it, and they do it as these little modular packs. And so the idea is that you've got these little wireless modules that the base just tracks wirelessly, up to 5 of them. and you can the Rift will have a thing like it was a way to get positional tracking on your Rift without needing a camera. It's a way to get positional tracking for the Samsung Gear VR, and it's a way to track your arms and your legs independently, or you could put one on your chest and get your torso. Like you can just strap them on wherever you want them on, and they release Unity packages for them. They release like the thing that Sixth Sense is really great about, it seems like, is all the API stuff, all the developer support stuff, because they have all that stuff very wide open.
What else has Sixth Sense done?
The Hydra.
So the Hydra was
Sixth Sense
them
is,
and Razer.
Sixth Sense is done. I don't really understand the relationship between Razer and Sixth Sense as a company. Like I don't think they're the same company.
Okay.
But they provide the technology for all that stuff. And they're kind of, I get the sense that that's just kind of what they do, is play with sensor hardware.
That sounds like an awesome job.
So I'm getting the whole 5 sensor package. Oh, and they also have a version of it where it's a controller. It's like a knobby, like a Razer kind of.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because it sounds like it's just a sensor, not an actual controller like the Hydra was.
But the idea is that they're providing all the like CAD files for all that stuff, so that people can design peripherals that these things will mount inside of.
Cool.
So like the controller is just a controller that happens to have the pack in it, and you can connect the controller to it. The controller's got buttons. It sends the button inputs, over the same wireless signal.
That sounds like it would be really
so
interesting.
they have they've been doing demos, and they have like a target shooting demo where you like go pick up a gun on a counter. This is with the Rift on.
Yeah. Sure.
So you're in a little target shooting thing. You go pick up the gun, and you're holding a controller, and it's 1-to-1. Everything, you load it, you can do all that.
That's nuts.
They have a lightsaber demo where you're deflecting.
Sold.
Blasters.
Yeah, right.
And every time I see the video of it, people are like, I've been waiting for this forever.
Yeah.
Like, that's the lightsaber demo. Right?
I'm gonna have to look that up. That sounds really interesting.
So I have designs on them also for musical applications. Like most of the things I try to kickstart. The Omni is cool too. The treadmill thing. I'm interested in seeing.
Yeah, that's the like domed base kind of thing where you have the stuff that you put on the bottom of your shoes.
It's a bowl with that you wear special shoes.
Yeah. Okay.
But what I didn't realize about it at first, and what I've heard about it since then, is that it uses capacitance to know where your feet are. So it doesn't require a camera.
Right.
Which means that it knows when you jump. It's getting you analog walking speed and things like that. So if games support it, it would be able to animate your walking at an analog speed. Things like that, which is pretty cool. Like I think that's a cool thing, and I think it's goofy. It's a little goofy.
Yeah,
it's not something you're going to expect a lot of people to have in their living
right.
rooms.
That's why when you were like, "Oh, and my Omni should be showing up soon," I'm like, "Wow, wow," because it's.
But I
know their Kickstarter succeeded, but it's also one of those things where it's like,
I think I have to blow my nose because I have a cold. Excuse me.
Yeah. I really liked the Omni when I saw it. I just, like anything else on Kickstarter, especially peripheral wise, I worry about applications in the real world. And I don't yet see enough things actually supporting it. Though I kickstarted this game called Elite to Dangerous.
Yeah.
It's basically like Star Citizen except by a different guy.
I went and bought that too, because I was like, why not have them both?
Yeah, so I kickstarted that, and I played it. This released on December 16th officially. Like, they actually released it. And it's out, and I'm playing it. And all I'm thinking is like, man, I could really use a Rift right now. I need to be able to look at my cockpit in 3D and interact with it. But that's it. That's the only reason I would want a Rift right now.
That cockpit sensation is the most amazing thing in the world. My computer's not all that great, but I brought my Rift with me to Illinois when I went to visit family, and my cousin's friend Jimmy, who became I met him at ASEN a few years ago, and we became real good friends. And he has a beefy computer, so some of the Rift demos that like I can't run smoothly on my computer ran beautifully on his. And there was one that was like, so one of them I remember specifically was called Vanguard V. And it's like your anime robot space girl.
What?
And the controls are entirely Rift. Like, it's nothing but headset.
Okay.
So, like, you sit there, and you're seeing from the view of her little robot assistant ball thing that follows around and gives her advice and whatnot. And as you look around, your target moves, and she kind of moves, wherever you're looking. And the targeting and shooting works similar to Res. Like, if you remember with Res, you'd hold down the button, you'd target a whole bunch, you release, and you shoot everything at once. And there's a delay between shooting and targeting. So when you're highlighting something, you move on to the next thing, move on to the next thing, move on to the next thing, and then a delay, and then it shoots everything. And so it's nothing but, you gotta look goofy as shit just going. But it's gorgeous. And then there was this mech game that I can't for the life of me remember what it's called. But, oh my God, I have never been so blown away.
Gene,
in VR.
You were saying that you can't imagine, that's the Elite is the only thing that you would want a Rift for.
Well, that's not what I said. But I can see an application for
right.
it.
I think
right
you're
now.
I think you're really underestimating how crazy it's gonna get.
The cockpit sensation stuff though is no fucking joke. Like that, I totally get.
But no, I want to make a distinction between things I can imagine the Rift will be good for and things that I can actually right now in my home use the Rift for that isn't a tech demo.
Yeah,
I really wish I knew somebody who had the Samsung gear.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see.
Well, the interesting thing about that, and one of the reasons why I feel pretty comfortable saying, like, people have no idea how much stuff there is going to be and how new and cool it is all going to be. Like, people don't get it. And the Gear VR is one of the reasons I feel more comfortable saying that, because of all the stuff that they've done, all the stuff Oculus has done around a store and like a home screen and like having an ecosystem around it, having 3D
making
videos,
it as a platform,
like 3D films and 3D stereo pictures and stuff that you can view, and it's a platform and you can just load it up and sit there in your wireless mobile version of it and sit there and do it, and it's no effort. You're not sitting at your desk with like a cable connected to something. You're not on a goofy treadmill. It's on some level it's like the Mac version. Right? Like it's
That's fair.
It's
fair.
Only a Samsung. Hey.
Yeah.
It's like how everyone calls their tablet an iPad, even if it's a Surface.
Yeah. Fun anecdote. So I don't know if anyone here watches the football.
Oh, I watched the football.
I
but
don't
the Microsoft Surface.
Yeah, that's why I said that.
Microsoft. I found it funny because the Microsoft Surface is an official sponsor of football.
Oh, so they're doing all their like play lines and stuff.
But nobody knows that they're using Microsoft Surface. All the announcers call them iPads, and because they're like out on the field, they all have covers on them, so nobody can see the Microsoft logo.
I'm sure Microsoft loves that. Yeah.
Now
that was the smartest partnership or sponsorship ever, right there. I'm sure.
Like 2 months, like I heard about this, months ago that I realized they were doing this, and I was like, those are Surface tablets? But they were iPads. Now they have special holders that say Microsoft Surface on the handle, so everyone can see that it is a Microsoft Surface. But that was a great blunder. Sorry.
That's funny.
I totally do collect the hardware.
You love the hardware.
I want to know when the actual Rift is going to come out,
Yeah.
so I can get one again.
And
I do want to get a real Rift. when it comes
so
out.
you know, I got a DK2, and I've been absolutely loving my DK2. Again, I wish I had a more powerful computer for it. But the stuff that I have been playing, and actually something really interesting is, you know, so people have been using it in some very interesting and innovative ways. There's that one game that you linked me to that uses that in the leap motion in combination, that space floaty thing, which looks really, really cool. And so there's a lot of simulation of experience that people are aiming for, but then there's also what has really, really taken off on Rift are horror games.
Horror, yes.
Because it doesn't matter how bad the graphics are, it's fucking terrifying.
Yep.
Oh my god, it's piss your pants horrifying.
I haven't seen anything new because I don't have an Oculus Rift, but I played with Casey's Dev Kit 1 back in the day, and he showed me this demo where you were a guy sitting on a couch playing a game on a TV.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the entire house is modeled around you, and there's like all these fucking noises, and you're looking around in this house that's dark.
Yeah.
Dark, and there's like shit moving. I mean,
It's
and I'm
that
playing this
kind of
game
shit that I love.
It's like, what's going on?
It's that kind of...
Nothing else could have
there's
ever
some
given you that experience.
fun reality
it's true.
bending kind
It's
of
true.
things that you can do
Yeah.
with that, and in the same kind of vein of that game within a game sort of sense, there's this game called Pixel Rift that's coming out. It's on Steam Greenlight right now, and the demo only gives you one level, but so basically the menu is you're a baby sitting on the floor of your parents' living room, and all around you in this nice little half circle are versions of the game Pixel Rift through the years. So starting with what would be Atari, going on to arcade, going on to, you know, the developer is woman, and so she goes on, you know, it's like there's the increase in, you know, female developers doing let's play with the gender roles, because, you know, Game Girl is what you're playing in this, and stuff like that. And so I love seeing, you know, just these takes on history and especially this fictional legendary game as it develops across this history. No, in the demo, the only one that you can play is the one on the Game Girl. So you load it, and you're like in school. So it's this girl, you know, it's basically her growing with these games.
Oh, I love that.
And so she's sitting, you know, you're seeing from her point of view, and she's sitting on the desk, and she's got her Game Girl under the desk, and the teacher comes in, and she wants to, you know, teach, and very angry and yelly and stuff like that. And so once she turns her back, the second you look down, the Game Girl comes out, and you start playing this little, you know, Mega Man-esque game. And then you can see, you know, if the teacher turns around, you gotta, you know, look up at the teacher, and the Game Girl goes back under the desk.
Was I telling you about the one I saw? Oh, what the hell was it called? I saw a game in the Kickstarter room at PAX last year that was, you're in a school, you're sitting at a desk in a school, in a classroom, and everyone is fish. You're all fish. But you're not. I don't think you're a fish. I think everyone else is fish. And you're in a class, you're in fish school.
Okay.
And you don't know the answer to any of the questions. So you have to cheat on the desk. You have to look over at the desk next to you.
I've heard about this.
Wait, what?
Something like that.
Did you tell me about this?
And it's just like it's just a surreal, like, okay, we're gonna put you in virtual reality,
but we're
gonna give you the experience of being in a classroom with fish. I'm signed up for that.
Yeah, the experience.
I want the surreal VR experience.
Yeah. That is something I am excited for, and I think that's gonna, once we can bring those experiences to people, I think VR is gonna take off. I think I'm excited. I don't know if you guys are following the whatever PlayStation's coming out with.
Yeah, the Morpheus.
The Morpheus.
There's actually a lot of speculation in. So again, to kind of take it back to horror, I love horror games so much.
I do.
And the
I can't
PT,
play them.
I don't want
but-
like
Yeah, me
PTSD
too.
from my VR horror.
No,
joke.
play Dread Halls. Oh my god, it's horrifying. But the PT demo that was on the PlayStation 4, the PSN,
Oh yeah.
which ended up being, a marketing for Silent Hill.
Mm-hmm.
People are analyzing, crazy analyzing that, and suggesting that
it's gonna
the
be
new
for
Silent Hill is going to be for Morpheus.
That would be.
That's speculation. It's speculation.
I might explode if that was from Mars.
But
That's such
think
a
about
bad
it.
idea.
Written by Guillermo del Toro, directed
dead.
by Kojima.
You're dead.
That's another thing about VR as a thing that I'm excited about and that I don't think people realize the full extent of, which is the extent to which there's been interest from beyond the gaming industry.
Oh yeah,
That's-
with film, absolutely.
honestly-
And I'll hesitantly admit porn.
No, I will
having
say
experienced it very
that
firsthand.
if VR is going to succeed, like actually succeed as the way that media moves forward, it needs to be taken up by something other than gaming.
Which is why
it can't just
That's-
be.
Facebook
already
bought
happened.
Oculus.
That's already happened.
I mean that acquisition.
The Gear
makes
VR
sense.
has
Right, exactly.
film
Mhm.
in it, not just video games.
Yep.
And it's going.
And it's for that exact
it can
reason.
potentially change the way films are made.
Yeah.
Like it could be a huge thing, but it would also mean. I can only imagine how much that would increase a budget on a movie.
Though I think of I don't know
Specific
if you
kinds of
guys ever
movies, though.
saw, there was a Final Fantasy VII movie called Advent Children
Oh yes.
many years ago, which was a great.
Whoops.
Was that my?
These phones are
No,
too damn
no, my
big.
phone's over there.
Fall out of your
But no,
pocket.
Advent Children. That was a fun film.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
But one of the things that really sold me, and it ended up not being what I thought it was, but one of the things that they said you were going to be able to do, because it was completely computer generated, is that you could take any of the scenes and move the camera around.
Okay, that would be
They
awesome.
said that you could do it. You never could. You never really could do it because DVDs weren't capable of that.
I was
I
gonna say.
But CG films,
I
you can actually do that.
Well, with CG films,
VR.
with CG films, you could, but also kind of couldn't, because I don't even think that the amount of data that's necessary in order to do that scene from scene would fit on a Blu-ray.
Yeah, I know,
However-
but it's gonna be strange.
However,
In a couple of years,
making CG films rendered in a game engine in real time,
you could totally do it.
that could be a
A
thing.
lot of games do that already for
Yep.
cutscenes,
Lots of
whereas before they would have.
Kojima
Right,
was
they
huge
would've
into
done
the the interactive cutscene
Mhm.
where you're just sitting there, Snake, like, oh yeah,
But I mean-
can move a couple degrees, but all the way.
Imagine a Toy Story-like film experience that's real-time rendered, and your VR head is the camera, and so it makes it, where
Toy Story
you
is
don't
a good
have
example.
to.
That movie could easily be
Real time rendered
real
now.
time rendered now.
Oh yeah, now yeah. Man, could you imagine talking about real-time rendering back in '95 on that scale when it took them? Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah, I figured you have an easier one.
Oh
my
I see
God.
how it is.
But what's cool, also, kind of another thing that I wanted to touch on with regard to the Rift is I'm seeing pictures at a CES that are showing now the Rift competitors. Rift came out, and then all of a sudden there are 20 different HMDs. Like, holy, what the fuck happened there?
If you ever want a funny perspective on it, go follow Palmer Lucky's
Palmer Lucky
Reddit.
cracks me up, man.
Go keep tabs on his Reddit account and because he posts on Reddit a lot.
Oh,
and
I know.
And people will post, oh, such and such a company's got this Kickstarter for their prototype VR goggles. And he's like, this is bullshit. like he'll explain why it's not as good as you think it is. And I love it. And he's right. Like a lot of the
Sure.
time people are just trying to cash in on the popularity of VR.
Yeah.
And they've got Oculus has a huge head start and the huge resources behind Facebook and everything. But someone like Sony,
Yeah,
Yeah,
Sony can contend
those
it.
are going to
Morpheus
be real competitive.
It's
And I'm
sounding promising.
So Morpheus sounds promising, especially and I think that I don't know, this is my speculation, but I think that they want to bring it full circle because they have the Morpheus in theory at some point in the future. They have the PlayStation Eye, which they've been pushing since like PlayStation 1 era, basically.
Yeah.
But the new PlayStation Eye, they have all the tracking. They have the Move, which works on light that tracks.
Yeah.
They have their new controllers, which have built-in tracking with that light bar right there. The PS4 controllers. And I think they're gonna, when the Morpheus comes out, they're just gonna drop the bomb that all of it is compatible. Like the game you're playing, you're holding your PS4 controller, your DualShock 4. What do they call it? Is it DualShock 4?
I think it's just DualShock 4.
Yeah, you're holding your DualShock 4. It's already being tracked where your hands are. You're holding your own Move. It's already being tracked. You already own 14 moves just sitting in your... Like, I still have your Move controller sitting around.
I'd love to see this be, like a 10-year joke to a payoff. Like, really? Okay, you guys ready for the punchline? Here's your VR.
You've been doing it all along.
But they didn't require it with the PS4. That I wish they would have done that. I wish they would have included the Move stuff in the PS4.
Only if they didn't charge more.
I know why they didn't do it, and it was brilliant.
It was money.
It was a brilliant reason.
But they also kind of did, because the lights in the controllers are basically
no, but the eye or whatever the camera,
but it doesn't come with the eye.
It doesn't come with it. Yeah. The way that Microsoft Connect.
Yes, but
comes with the Xbox.
that hurt their sales. It hurt their sales.
It hurt their sales because Sony did that.
Yep,
and that's why. I mean, it makes perfect sense. But at the same time, it bugs me because I don't now. Developers don't.
I think what they're gonna do. I think what they're gonna do. Is when the killer app, the game that Sony pushes to launch this, it's gonna be like, buy this game for $60 and it's gonna come with the eye.
Yeah,
and you're gonna get it
like they did with
the Wii Motion Plus.
Yeah, but like Sony already also did with the eye with that shitty card game.
The card one.
That was a sweet
that augmented reality card game. Eye of Judgment.
So yes. That game was so awesome in theory until people invented printers.
Yes, exactly. You mean many years before that game came out?
Well, that's right, because we had to have special cards.
Yeah, exactly. So
no one will crack this QR code we printed in the corner.
Oh man. But so I want to go back to something that you it seemed that you alluded to the idea that in not packaging with the eye, it discourages developers to develop for
I mean, it's like people don't they don't have any guarantee that the person buying the game is going to have it. The person with the PlayStation is going to have it.
Name me a title that you know of that people need, like play on Kinect. Anything on Kinect.
There's the Fantasia one that just came out that's supposed to be really good, or was that for PlayStation? I forget.
The problem is that
I think it's for Xbox. Well, the thing is I don't play them because I don't have it, and so it's
sure.
I believe there was a really good Harmonix. Harmonix, I think, made this really great Fantasia game that got really good reviews. That is for. I want to say it's for Kinect, or it might be for. I don't know.
Is it 360 or is that
Xbox One? But the point is exactly that. The point is that I don't have an Xbox. If it's for Xbox, the point is that it isn't for PlayStation because the eye is people don't have the stuff, and so there isn't a lot that gets
from what I've seen,
and I definitely agree. It's almost always like dance games and goofy,
right. And from what I've seen,
having the Rock Band instruments in your cupboard for
I still got all of them in my basement just sitting around.
From what I've seen, the Kinect as bundled with the Xbox One is largely used for voice controls.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's it.
Kinect
it's amazingly powerful. It is a wonderful piece of hardware.
I wish that I had it. I wish that I cared about Xbox.
That's the problem. And I think,
but no, I mean, and in the homebrew scene and how they were smart to release an SDK to people to use for robotics and shit like that. That's cool. But when applied to gaming, nah, fuck you.
The problem, I think, the Microsoft had a great idea. The idea of bundling it together where you could be 100% sure that everyone who had your console had this piece of hardware with it. But no games came out to take advantage of it.
I don't think developers want to develop titles that are exclusive to Xbox.
That's probably a factor.
That's a big
well.
one, yeah.
I mean, I think that's why it bothers me that PlayStation doesn't.
Because nowadays,
because that would mean that if a developer wanted to make a game that used that kind of technology, they'd have to do it for only Xbox. And why do that when you could develop a game that's on every platform?
Yep. Even, I mean, the one game I can think of that came out for both the 360 and the PS3, but was heavily touted on the experience of the Kinect was a Child of Light.
Yeah, I didn't play that either, and I would have.
It looks gorgeous.
It was by the guys who made the Res.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, play it on the Kinect. You can control the aiming, and then you can, you aim and you close your fist to shoot.
Oh, no, that wasn't Child of Light. That was something else. I remember Jess having this.
Jess loved it. Jess loved it.
It was, Child of Light. No, Child of Light is that sweet little...
That indie game.
It's an indie game with the sweet little girl with the crown and stuff. It looks gorgeous.
That game looks great.
Totally different. This is a shooter, from the developers of Res, and I can't for the life of me remember what it was called.
I think it had light in the title.
Cool.
90% sure.
I know the one you're talking about, so if it's not called Child of Light, I don't know what it's called.
Yeah, I can't remember what
But that one was... It was supposed to be a great experience on the Kinect, and they also came out with PS3 versions you could play with the controller, and it wasn't a strong enough game to sell Kinects.
No.
And you can't get away with one game that's slightly better on the Kinect version than the controller version.
And from my experience with Kinect, that was probably the most interesting experience that I had on Kinect. Was. Personally.
Yeah.
And, we see all these promises, at E3, there's, like the Star Wars thing where it's like, you're gonna
do this
fucking lightsaber duel and shit because the Kinect is amazing.
Yes.
Or you've got the shit like, what was it that, and I should know better than to take Peter Molyneux's promise at face value, but you remember when they were first showing off the Kinect, back when it was...
Milo?
Yeah, Milo.
Yeah.
You will interact with this,
you're going to talk to him, and he's going to respond to you like...
Zero to do with the Kinect, by the way, talking to a kid. But
sure, but I mean, it was to show off kind of some of the Kinect stuff and stuff like that.
What the hell was it called? Seamen.
Oh my God! Yes, on Dreamcast. Yes, of course I remember Seaman. It came with a microphone and shit.
I don't know. That's just because then you have to talk to them.
Yeah, you learned your language. You learned how to.
Yep. That was Seaman was awesome.
The Dreamcast was way ahead of its time.
Oh,
the Dreamcast was with the
it got killed by piracy because it was a Windows platform. It was Windows CE on that, and it got cracked like that. You had loader discs that you just burned. I own every Dreamcast game. Oh yeah. Heavy quotes. Own every Dreamcast game. Because now you just burn it and you pop it in the fucking thing. And that happened during its heyday. That happened within the first 2 years of its life.
It was no good.
And
That's
Sega went,
pretty significant business fail.
Yeah.
And there just isn't enough killer apps. Like the only killer app for the Kinect,
I agree with that.
"Quote unquote" killer app is the dancing. Yeah. The dancing is great for it,
and everyone seems to be into it. And
my wife loves it. She herself would never buy an Xbox.
That might be enough. I mean, look at something like Rock Band and Guitar Hero and shit like that. When it came to all the goofy Rock Band peripherals, there's no reason to own those other than that one game.
Sure.
True, but
goddamn.
I mean, it's great, but the problem is you have to get people buying it. And like I was saying, my wife loves the dancing games on the Kinect, and I have a 360 of the Kinect on there, and she loves dancing games, but I don't think she would ever herself go out and buy an Xbox 360 for that experience.
Sure.
It's not going to move consoles for you. And that's really all they care about, moving consoles.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd be interested to see if, in this generation, and apparently this version of the Kinect for the Xbox One is supposed to be, significantly better and stronger.
It's definitely much better.
And so I'll be curious to see if anything worthwhile actually comes out this generation for it.
But they won't. Now that now that they've stopped including it with every console, there's no way to know that everyone who has an Xbox One has a Kinect. So no one's going to develop for it.
I honestly think that the best place at this point for the Kinect to be is as an open platform
on the PC
for PC development. Yep. Because that's where the crazy shit happens. Is PC developers.
Yeah. Actually,
I feel the same way about the Rift and virtual reality and stuff like that. Like,
I had
keep that stuff open so that
absolutely,
indie people that are just messing around can do whatever they want.
The indie
you'll
stuff,
see so much
that's
amazing.
What's gonna be
and artists and creative people and and like VJs and people doing concert lights and effects and stuff like that. Like there are all sorts of applications for that hardware that extend beyond gaming. Mm-hmm. And all sorts of creative applications for it. That it's a shame. You certainly don't want it to be limited to just the Xbox, where no one is developing games for it.
Yeah.
And sadly, on the Xbox, the thing I really loved about my Xbox 360 before it stopped working with Netflix very well, it just sucked. But the thing I loved about it was the voice control that it gave me, like being able to be like, Xbox next episode. Yeah. That was amazing. I didn't have to reach across the...
Okay, that would be pretty awesome. Because goddamn it, I'm fucking sick of hitting continue after 2 episodes on Netflix.
Yeah, I'm fucking still watching. Don't judge me.
Can you train it so that when you say make it so...
I wish. You can't train it.
It thinks you
I wish you could train it. That would be amazing.
Make it so.
But no, like that. The voice control is the best part. And my PS4, I don't use it... this functionality, but if your controller, the PS4 controller, has a port where you can put in their headset, and if you hook that up, you can actually use their voice controls directly from the headset.
It's true.
If you wanted to. And I don't see any reason why controllers can't have microphones to use voice control.
Oh, sure.
Why the console itself can't just fucking have a little microphone on there to use voice control. Like, I don't use the whole Kinect.
Then we're going back to the very original Famicom.
It's great.
Which had a microphone built into the controller.
It didn't work very well, but it was a great concept.
I'm sure there's been no progress in voice recognition since then.
Oh, no, certainly not.
You just update the firmware.
I will say nowadays, voice recognition is extremely good.
I'm very surprised at but one thing before we get too far removed from it and move on, you were talking about, keeping these platforms open and things like that, and it reminded me, Razer has just announced that they're putting an HMD into the race, and it's called OSVR. It's open source virtual reality.
Nice.
So
that makes me happy.
Things
Razer
are
is the king of impractical.
It's not
hardware that they're just going to make because they want to.
Specs wise, it's not the most impressive thing on the planet, but it's meant to be tampered with. And it's meant, for these things to be replaced and worked with. And the one difference, I just read about this today, is the lenses are not like convex or concave. It's a combination of, convex and concave lenses to kill out the peripheral. So apparently you're, the edges are harder to sense. Like your peripheral vision is much better with this lens combination that they're using. But yeah, sorry, it was
I'm interested in it's just I feel like it's such an exciting time.
I need to see more. I need to experience more VR headsets because the technologies I've seen, you have the Oculus Rift technology with the screens in front of your eyes, but the one I'm thinking of, Casey, there's one that's a screen that's also headphones that you flip down that projects the images onto your eyes. It's like built-in projectors.
I'm familiar
and
with that concept.
I have not
Does it actually exist yet?
It does. It's for sale. It's like $400.
And there's a competitor to Oculus that does like a laser draw on your retina.
That was that's a good example of what I was talking about, where it's cool to follow Palmer on Reddit
to see what the deal is,
because there are reasons not to do the retinal projection.
Yeah, their big thing.
I can't remember what they are, but
for that technology, their big thing is movies. Their big thing is movies. They want to because they have the built-in headphones. They're like, watch 3D movies. It's gonna look great, and it's projected right into your eyeballs. But I wanna feel that technology. I want to see
something like that. Probably
what
would
it
be
is.
Great.
Man, it's like
I'm worried. but
Worried
It's
about
such
what?
a scary
shit being
thing to-
thrown into my eyeballs.
Yeah, I know. It's
light is hitting your
I
eyeballs
just-
all the time.
well, yeah, but like
guess, yeah.
for
I guess
some
that's
It's
reason,
not shooting lasers in there.
for some reason,
Somebody
I'm
get the
just
LASIK app. You can just fix your own vision.
I'm just imagining my eyeballs go like Pac-Manning at light particles. Nom nom nom.
That's something I really like about the goggles, the VR and everything too. Is you don't get the eye fatigue because you're focusing at the distance that you normally be focusing
Sure.
at, and you're just looking at light
Yeah.
the way you would be
Yeah.
in real life. Like there's nothing unusual about it in that sense from your eyes perspective. There are a million other things unusual. About
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
One in a lot of cases I've learned, especially so like the other day I decided to give Half-Life 2 a try.
For the first time ever?
Oculus. Well,
No.
in the Oculus.
Okay.
Get up to speed on this whole Half-Life thing.
Yeah, I figure, people
Couple of years-
people have
10
been
years
talking
later.
about
Did you know that the
3
guys
for
who made
5
Portal
years.
made a game called Half-Life?
You might ever hear about that. Slowpoke meme.
But I, for the first time ever in my Oculus, felt really discombobulated,
Mhm.
almost sick to my stomach, because your equilibrium isn't there. So you're seeing falling and running around in the way that you are in this universe, but you're not feeling any of it,
Is that the
and
first time
so
you
it doesn't
did
feel right.
And movement.
Is it the first time you've done a first-person shooter?
A first-person
kind of
shooter,
game?
yes.
Yeah,
it's
that was
not
a-
great.
It's different.
kind of game to
That's why
play.
it works
Yeah,
so
no.
well for cockpits and flight sims, because
I think
that
your body isn't moving and you can
Right.
disassociate
I'm
that.
interested in seeing how the treadmill
Helps with that.
mitigates that, because that's kind of the thing. Now, games
What
where you're
the sense that I was getting was almost that, okay, so I'm running off this ledge
right,
and I'm not feeling like
j-
my body
the
is
jumping and
going
the-
where I should be going
yeah,
here.
that's what it is.
And those have always been the sensations that have been most jarring in like some of the Oculus demos that I've done.
Going
Like
upstairs.
there's like a thing called like the chair or something, like an experience, or I can't even remember what it's called, but you're basically you change the environment around you by just looking. And so as you're looking, you'll look back and everything has changed. And it'll kind of paint a new environment around you. And the last thing is you're sitting up on this scaffolding. You can look down to this big pit, at the bottom. It's an unfinished building. And all of a sudden you'll look forward and there's a box there at the other end of this big iron bar that you're sitting on. And it'll lose its balance and throw you off. And that's the only part of that entire run of this weird shit that kind of fucks with me. This sense of falling backwards without the equilibrium sense of falling backwards.
Sense. That is tough. That is the one thing that they're going to need to really work with in virtual reality. Is the more real they make it, the more doing unnatural things is gonna feel weird.
Yeah. It's like when you're doing the spaceship games, you're in a cockpit and that helps.
Yeah.
But
you're not, your body isn't really moving.
But if you do like a barrel roll, you feel a little like, I don't know about that. And it's because it turns out when you do a barrel roll in real life,
are you doing a barrel roll or like an aileron roll? That's the real question here.
I don't know.
I was waiting for that question. I was wondering if you weren't going to say it, I was.
But the thing that people realize very quickly about VR is that things that would nauseate you in real life if you did them, that don't normally nauseate you in a video game when you're doing it with your mouse, all of a sudden do, because it turns out falling from a scaffolding
might feel a little
whatever. But like a lot of those things, it's not really a great medium for extreme motion.
Yes.
And so part of it is developers just need to not do that. And part of it is, are there other things that you can do to get around it, like the treadmill thing? Like if you can at least walk around, that solves some of the first person shooter. I hate to say shooter because it's not just shooters, but
FPP,
all the first person
perspective. Yeah.
Really, I think requires something like that to get around that, because even just doing the what was it, the Tuscany demo for the Rift, you know, when you're walking around, you're controlling where you're going with your controller, you have to be real careful about, like, am I looking in the direction that I'm walking when I'm moving?
Yeah.
Am I ready to do this? Because if you're not, it's easy to get a little weird.
That's kind of another thing that you know, developers will need to try to find an elegant solution for, is the, you know, so in some ways, some people have just equated head look to mouse look.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where, okay, WASD, and then I got my mouse look, and I'm, you know, I look over here, so W means I should be walking this way, not strafing. So, you know, that's what that should mean.
With mouse and keyboard, you automatically make that connection. When you want to keep walking forward and you're looking to the right, you just switch to using A,
exactly,
and it's fine. It's natural motion.
So, I do like what Valve has done as a solution to that, in that you control the reticle within a scope in front of you, wherever you're looking at any given point in time. But if you push the mouse to the edge of those boundaries, you turn. Because I don't have 360 degrees of movement sitting in my chair. I mean, I kind of do, but it would be a mess.
Not when you're tethered to a cord.
That's why Oculus is committed to the sitting down experience for VR. Like they expect that most people are going to experience things sitting at a desk with goggles on. And so a lot of the content and a lot of the guidance that they are providing to developers and things like that are designed around that as the experience. Because under normal circumstances, you don't actually need that large of a degree of that many degrees of freedom when it comes to where your head is going to go, because you don't do this all the time, you know?
Yeah, right.
It's actually uncomfortable to walk around. Like if you're in a game environment in VR, you're not sitting there like doing this, you know, because you don't do that in real life.
There's a lot of things I do in games that I don't do in real life. Like in Half-Life or any first-person shooter perspective game, there's so many times when I'm like, I'm going to keep walking this way, but I'm going to take a quick look 360 degrees while still walking the same direction.
Yeah.
I don't do that in real life. Like, if I'm walking down the hallway and I want to see behind me, I stop and look behind me. I don't just, I keep walking, so I just
I have
keep
a challenge
walking.
to that. What if there were head crabs in the building, and you knew that there were head crabs somewhere?
Do I have a crowbar?
Yeah, but
Then I'm good.
You gotta know, but you gotta do a sweep of the area.
I know, but would I stop or would I keep trying to walk? Also, I can
Are
walk.
they chasing you?
That depends. Well, I can look backwards without actually walking backwards, which is tough.
It's true. So there's a lot of things to consider.
Yeah.
It's a complicated. I feel like it's a very complicated thing to develop around, and it'll take some time for people to sort out what are the best practices. And they're doing that already, and that was what's great about it having been a Kickstarter. People having gotten the dev kits in their hands and things like that. There's been a lot of time between when that DK1 came out and whenever they release a consumer version. Like, there's been a lot of time for people who create content to get their heads around what is the best way to do this. And I feel like that's something that I will give Oculus a lot of credit for. They didn't get it out too early. I think they knew that if they put it out too early, I think they knew that there was still a lot of work that needed to be done, and there were still things that needed to happen before it could be released as a consumer product.
I mean,
if they would have released the DK1 as a consumer product,
oh my god,
it would have failed.
It would have failed. And even when they released the DK1, I had been hearing about this upcoming for years before even they got to that point. Like, they've been iterating on this for a while.
It'll, I feel like it's going to be interesting to see where that, you know, so developers are going to have to start thinking about things that they don't usually think about. And at the same time, the hardware is going to have to evolve to try and alleviate some of the problems that you encounter. So it'll be interesting to see what the middle ground reached ends up being. Like, we're looking at, from what I can tell, the precipice of a new era.
Yeah,
And
it's a completely new type of content.
We've got a long road ahead of us in both software and hardware in figuring out how this best works. And, like, I mean, I say new era. I mean, there's been the stupid fucking, VR machines at the arcade or whatever for ages and all that, hokey bullshit. This is like this is
coming.
Real shit. This is like in your home real shit.
Yeah.
I want to take a turn and talk about games.
Okay. Go for it.
What games are you playing? And what's in your
Actually,
Steam
before we do that, can we take a break? Because I gotta hit the pisser.
This is like a endurance.
It's a
I'm gonna pee on Ryan's bed here.
Yeah. Contiguous cast. You're gonna
have this anyway.
We're getting close to the end anyway. Here, let's do this to kind of wrap up, and see what everyone's been doing. So let's start with you, Chi.
Shadow of Mordor. Awesome. If you haven't played it,
60 million ways to kill an orc.
60 million ways to kill an orc. Love it.
I would have loved to have been the mocap guy in that game.
Oh my god. Oh, awesome. Or the killing one or the dying one?
Yeah.
But no, Shadow of Mordor, that's the game I've been playing. Star Citizen, always Dota 2, because Dota's really the way to go at any given moment. I
never really got into the MOBAs. Though I do have beta access to Heroes of the Storm. So.
It's not... Well, actually, if you're not a big MOBA guy, you might like it.
I've been...
it's casual. It's casual
I haven't
MOBA.
played it much.
It's casual MOBA. No. Shadow of Mordor has been my go-to game whenever my wife gives me access to the TV, basically. I've been playing the shit out of that. I spend a lot of my days... Maybe not a lot of my days, but a lot of my time playing iOS games. Mobile games.
Really?
Because it's a good go-to. Like, I can sit down, like, at the gym, I'm, like, riding the bike, and I can just play a game. Craft the World, which is, if you haven't heard of it, it's on Steam. I only now recently realized it's on Steam. It's kind of like Terraria.
Okay.
Except... instead of you actually building, like in Terraria, you control the guy and you build all the stuff by clicking. Instead of that, you click what you want, you tap or click or whatever, but you have like NPC dwarfs that go around and do these things for you. And then as you level up and do tasks, like, leveling up is basically like fighting dudes and fulfilling objectives, and objectives are like, research this thing in a tech tree, which is just crafting. Like, get a bunch of wood and then craft a bunch of helmets, and then you can get more dwarves, and then you build up more dwarves. You do all the Terraria things. Like, it's got the back wall and the front wall.
Sure.
Wall that you can build up, but you don't actually control any of it. You just control of what you want to be done.
I would just like to tap things.
Yeah,
right.
And have things happen.
That's a good one. I don't know if you guys are familiar with idle/tap games or click games.
Like your
clicker.
like Cookie Clicker. Oh my god! I sunk a ton of time into that. And Candy
Box.
Candy Box. So good.
Too. But Candy Box and Candy Box 2 and Cookie Clicker. I wrote a whole article on my website, which I'm sure you'll link to.
At this point, it's gonna appear right here.
Anyway, so all of a sudden, like a month ago, iOS developers realized that they could just turn clicking into tapping.
Oh, this sounds like the worst idea.
So I've been playing these tapping games, and I'm just like, gotta tap it, I gotta get all these heroes, so that next time I turn on my phone 2 hours later, I'm gonna have a bunch of gold so I can buy more heroes. And it's awesome. Some Tap Titans and Bitcoin Miner.
Jesus.
Bitcoin Miner.
Yeah, you tap it to mine Bitcoins.
I thought we were going to talk about games, you guys.
Those are barely
and not like pathology.
All right, no. Shadow of Mordor, great game. Star Citizen, not Star
Star
Citizen.
Citizen.
That's the game I'm thinking of. Elite Dangerous.
Yeah.
I've been playing a lot of Elite Dangerous.
The other Star Citizen.
It is the greatest simulator of flying through space I've seen. It doesn't have a lot of stuff going on in it.
Is that they like modeled the universe?
Yeah,
right.
It's
like,
based on the
it's
original
based on
Elite
actual
game.
like NASA data.
I don't know.
That's
I don't
really
know
cool.
if that's true or
I
not.
want to say they have like
I believe it.
like real star maps. Like it's like you can go to actual stars.
That'd be
Yeah,
pretty rad.
but the idea, I'm not sure if you guys played the original Elite way back in the early 90s,
Mm-mm.
but the concept of Elite was they had a procedurally generated universe that was huge, but the game was like 7 kilobytes because they did it off a specific key, so it built at the same time every time. So you could actually restart the game and have the same universe without actually keeping all that in your memory. So the game is still there. It is really cool to see this giant universe, but they do a really good job of showing you the enormity of space. So like let me give you an example of what you kind of do
It takes
here.
you 8 days.
Yeah,
it takes
kind
you
of.
6 months to get to Mars.
yeah.
No, it's great. It's great because it
So I'll just launch this, and I'll see
Age
you in
20
July.
years. Yeah.
no, it feels that's kind of what it feels like. No, it's
You're
kind of
doing a hell of a job pitching this game.
so if you love docking at space stations and flying through space aimlessly, the docking is awesome. Okay, I'm gonna tell you what's awesome. Docking is awesome because you can, you go to the space station, like you see it and it's coming up and it's rotating, and then you just like you request docking permissions and they're like docking bay 37, and then like it lights up a little bit and you just like gotta
You have to
find the docking station. You gotta like rotate yourself to go with the thing, and then as you get closer, all of a sudden this like little heads up display comes up with your ship, and you can see yourself docking in the cockpit, which is beautifully modeled underneath you, and you can see yourself kind of docking, and it's so good when you've been playing it for a while, and you can just hit the throttle, and you're just about there, and just throttle back and just drift into spot.
Are we still talking about a video game? I'm
it's
actually
wonderful.
really confused.
It's the game that made me want to get the Oculus Rift.
I can't tell if I should have a hard on right now or not.
Can I tell you what
Yes,
I'm
you
excited
should.
for? I'm excited for
What are you excited for?
Disney taking over Star Wars,
Who isn't?
and the fact that they just re-released TIE Fighter,
Yes.
and whether
Is it for the Rift?
no,
Why not?
God,
but
that would be
whether
cool.
that means that they have designs to start making good Star Wars games again.
That would be
They should.
wonderful.
Because I would love for there to be good Star Wars games in an era that has precise wireless full body tracking
Yeah.
and virtual reality goggles. Like
Yeah,
I
right.
want all the Star Wars games
Yeah.
now.
The sad thing is, like, I don't even need a new Star Wars game. Just give me TIE Fighter
Yeah.
and upgrade the graphics to HD
Yeah.
and give me the Oculus Rift support, and I'll just sit there forever.
And fuck all that shit.
But
Just
no.
give me Earth and Beyond back. I want Earth and Beyond back. That was
But no,
a great
so
game.
docking is really cool. Flying around these spaceships, moving distances, it's really nice. Like you can go super fast, hyper cruise or hyper speed they call it, hyper cruise, and you're going really fast, and all of a sudden you're there, and like you go up and past the speed of light, and you can jump past space stations. It looks really pretty, but the game, I'm gonna be honest with you, it's you go to a space station, you pick up some commodities, maybe a contract to bring some commodities to another space station, and then you undock, which is sweet. And then you fly to another one.
So you're like,
we better make docking awesome because you
you're
know
like, okay, okay,
You
guys,
don't do
okay,
anything
guys, no, hold on. So the core mechanics are shit, but this docking
It's
and
wonderful.
undocking, it's so good.
Yeah. Okay, and there's a number one docking.
also suppresses the desire to
Number
hear.
one docking. Number 3, flying through space. Number 2, and this is what really sells me on this game, is beautifully modeled cockpit. Looks wonderful. I don't have an Oculus Rift, so I can't do this. But if I hit the alt, I put it to the Alt key. But with Alt key, you can do free look. And imagine you're sitting in this cockpit. and you see your heads-up display, and everything's cool. And if you do the alt key, you have free look, and you look down, and you can see your hands. You got the joystick movement. I don't have a joystick, but you can see the joystick movement on the cockpit. You see the throttle, and then if you look to the left, a little heads-up display pops to the left, and you can like navigate around and be like, let's contact the space station for docking permission. And while I'm docking, I'm going to look over to the right and check my manifest to make sure my cargo's okay.
So then
Sweet.
your real draw on this is that kind of level
Yeah,
of immersion.
the immersion of being in space. And realistically, if I was in space, that's pretty much what I'd be doing. Like
You'd be
spending...
yeah, that look good? Yeah, that looks good.
I'd be like...
can I dock with you? Thanks.
Yeah. I imagine my space time is going to be like 40 hours of bullshit space travel that's boring as fuck, and then like 20 seconds of awesome docking excitement.
So you have no illusions of...
There's no other shit that goes on.
Routine you have to eat, and you're gonna be like,
in my ship.
I'm in space.
Oh man, this ration simulator's great.
Yeah. No. Oh, this is the best part. I saved the best part for last. When you come up to a space station that only has like 3 docking ports and there's like 20 people in line, but there's no queuing system. So you're just like, as soon as you see like new contact detected and you see someone take off, you're like, gotta request permission to dock. I gotta get those.
It's like they've simulated like the
bank.
shittiest
Going to the
DMV.
bank, space edition.
Or like they've simulated like trying to call into a radio station
Yeah.
and be caller number X.
Yeah.
Oh
So-
shit! Someone.
I will say, Indeed is the game where I was watching a video of a dude playing it with the Oculus, and he was like moved to tears.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like, that was the game that made me specifically go to Casey's New Year party and say, let me borrow your Oculus so I can play this game with the 3D.
And then he went, I don't have my
Yeah,
Oculus anymore.
Exactly. That's exactly what he did.
Gotta be quick.
But no.
Hey, drop the $300 on your own.
I'm spending all my money on fucking tapping games. I gotta get these
soon as I click
diamonds
that
to
cookie, I
tap
will.
faster for me while I'm not playing.
You know, it's
no, that's
just
what I've been
another $5 microtransaction in order to get that tapping 10 times faster.
Yeah. Yeah.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
No, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. But no, Elite Dangerous and Shadow of Mordor. Those are the big ones for me.
Yeah, I am definitely going to have to reiterate Shadow of Mordor for sure. Shadow of Mordor, I found out is DirectX 11 only.
Yes.
I found out the hard way it's
Yes.
DirectX 11 only. A
lot of people did.
I had been drooling over that game, since it came out. It looked beautiful. All the gameplay videos that I'd seen, I was like, man, they're doing some super cool shit with this. And I just wanted that game. And so for Christmas, my grandpa got me a gift card to Amazon. I'm like, Shadow of Mordor. Done. Absolutely. So I pick up Shadow of Mordor and I launch it, and it goes, nope. Like, doesn't even try and do anything. It's just a notification box is like, doesn't support DirectX 11. Your video card doesn't support DirectX 11. I'm like, what? but I want, what? So I ended up trading video cards with Lauren. Because she had a Radeon, like the first card to support DirectX 11.
Nice.
And I'm like,
Clutch.
I put it in, and I'm.
Does it look good on the PC?
Yeah, and
I play on the PS4,
it looks, it looks okay on mine because it's, like I said, the first video card to support DirectX 11. Not going to be the most powerful, powerhouse for a game that requires at least DirectX 11. I'm 9 hours in right now, I think. And I've just been.
I love kill orcs.
They've created a universe. They've created a map, like a world that feels huge but isn't tedious to traverse.
No, it's not that big. Really,
it always looks bigger than it actually is. Like when and they made quick travel
Super
convenient and nice and easy. I love the Nemesis system.
It's a very well.
I think we could do
game.
basically an hour on this podcast
Absolutely.
just for the Nemesis system. My God,
So
that's one of the greatest inventions of 2014.
I love seeing that the combat system, very heavily mimics the Batman, combat system, because that was a solid fucking combat system. Then that's not enough. They got to create the Nemesis system, which other people are going to end up using.
Yeah.
Like that is absolutely going to become a thing.
I hope so.
I really hope so.
The only
just
knock against
good
that game
ideas.
that I have is that the writing is terrible.
Yeah, the writing's not great, but I will say, and you guys, you played. Do you have it on your PS4?
Yeah.
Okay, so you will
What
know
if
what
I
I'm talking.
I'm buying these games for PS4 instead of PC.
It's better. It's
What
better
have I
over
become?
controller, guaranteed.
It is.
Well, I play with the controller too.
Yeah, of course. But I will say that
I hit that limit.
there's a, for anyone who hasn't played it, there is a way to commit executions. You can kill people in the middle of combat. You once your combo meter goes up to a certain point, you can press the 2-button combination to just kill a
I'm
dude.
gonna triangle square this mofo.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And there is one combination where the character, I think you know where I'm going with this.
I don't know.
There's one combination where the character will knock the enemy right underneath, it will cut off the dude's leg, and the guy will go flying backwards, and it slows down. It's wonderful. Every time you come on these executions, it's wonderful. But at that moment, there's this perfect sword swing noise that plays through the PlayStation controller.
Yes.
And it is so perfect every time, because you're just in this combat and you hear these orcs cheering and they're yelling for the war chiefs, and there's all this commotion around you, and you got this motherfucker coming up and he's got this giant shield and giant axe, and you press those buttons and it's just swing.
If you
right in your hands.
If you like killing orcs,
What
there
in the
is no
world did
better
we do?
game that will ever be made than
Shadow Mordor. Except for Shadow Mordor 2, Electric
Uruks.
Boogaloo.
Uruks. Thank you. Yes, that's true.
Yes, they make a very big point in that in the
Yeah.
game. They are Uruks, not orcs.
I found a fun little glitch today while I was playing, actually, where their implementation of free running and parkour and stuff like that is really outstanding. You never feel like anything is an obstacle. You never feel burdened by travel in general, which is great. But when you come up to a ledge, it has a platform that extends out, out beyond the ledge. So you're here and the platform ridge is here. Sometimes when you run up to that, you go and all of a sudden you watch your character go, whoop. You're he just kind of teleports.
I am actually a ghost elf. That's what that is. I'm not a man. I'm a ghost elf.
That's a fair argument.
No, actually, I was watching the gameplay reveal video for
right.
I was watching the gameplay reveal.
Spoiler.
Gee, I can't believe you said that.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no, I was watching the gameplay reveal for fucking Uncharted 4, which looks great, by the way.
I haven't played any Uncharted, but I'd probably like them.
You would love them. You would love them. But no,
don't have
and I was watching them, and it's just
Nathan
it's just getting,
Fillion in a video game. It's the best thing.
yeah,
Shit ever.
and it's just getting more and more realistic on the parkour climbing you can do. Where you see this guy, he's on a cliff edge, and he's reaching up to this thing, and you obviously the guy's pressing the jump button at this moment, where he's going from this moment where he's reaching, and all of a sudden he somehow has enough momentum to jump 4 feet up and to the right. From the position of already being extended far to the right as possible.
He's a treasure hunter.
Yeah, that's true.
I think,
That's true.
I mean, it's kind of just, it's in the legs. It's in the legs.
Yeah, and it's true. It's true. He does a lot of running.
So yeah, Shadow of Mordor is my first game that I have been playing recently. The other, I actually just finally started really kind of playing Binding of Isaac. Just because... Rebirth just came out, and
I heard that makes it a lot better, and it was already.
And
a good
I've
game
heard
to
that
begin
as
with.
well. And I bought Binding of Isaac, the original, when it first came out, and didn't really play much of it.
I also own it. Never
And
played
so
it.
I've been trying to get more into that, because just watching some, other Let's Players, doing their runs and seeing how ridiculous these builds can become. Like it's a game that kind of tailors to min-maxers, but
isn't it a roguelike though?
Yeah, it is a roguelike, yeah. But there are, part of the game becomes breaking the game. And it's kind of fun to see people do it, but I feel so clueless so far. And the other game that I've been, two other games that I've been putting a lot of time into is Geometry Wars 3, which surprisingly just kind of popped up on Steam recently. Like, I'm a big fan of twin stick shooters. And Geometry Wars has always been... I love Geometry Wars. And I just happened to bring up Steam one day. It's like, Geometry Wars 3. I'm like, what? It's not Bizarre Creations making it anymore, as far as I know. But it's really good.
Okay.
I mean, it's Geometry Wars through and through.
Yeah, I mean, that's all you need, really.
And then Risk of Rain, another roguelike kind of thing. But it's an indie developed, as far as I understand. That kind of pixelated style of running around, killing shit, and picking up buffs. It's a really fun game. If you guys haven't played it,
that sounds familiar.
It's really cool.
You gotta send me a link to that. That sounds really familiar.
And especially considering you can multiplayer it. Like, that would be a lot of fun. So, nice. How about you?
I am playing a whole heap of Dragon Age Inquisition right now.
I've heard great things.
It's fantastic. It's beautiful. It's enormous, and you're like, where's the army? Well, like, where do they keep the army that it must have taken to create all of these assets?
Wow,
it's a gorgeous game. And it's like I read something that was very, very, very good advice, which I'll explain in a second. But the advice was leave the hinterlands. And the reason that's good advice is because they drop you into this area at the beginning of the game. And it turns out it's a really big area, and there's like 1 million quests to do there. But you don't need to do them all before you leave that area. And so the best thing you can do is to do a few and then to move on, do the main quest. Because all of a sudden, because that's when the game gets more interesting, you unlock more areas to go to, you unlock more features of the game and whatever. But it's a sprawling game. Like it's
Does it feel tunneled in any way?
No, not at all.
Because the original Dragon Age felt kind of tunneled to me.
I
didn't feel that way about Origins. It's been a long time since I played it. I really liked Origins.
I never played a lot of the Dragon Age games. I have Origins, but I haven't really jumped into it too much.
Oh, that actually just reminded me. I go way back with this because I was super big on Neverwinter Nights when they did Neverwinter Nights.
Sure.
And I remember when in the course of them doing Neverwinter Nights, they were talking about how they wanted to do original IP so that they could get out from under the Dungeons and Dragons license.
Right.
Oh, sure.
And that's what Dragon Age was.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
And it didn't end up being like a tile set based modular multiplayer whatever kind of thing. But
did they do Neverwinter Nights too?
I don't know if they did.
Because Neverwinter Nights 2 was very much a bridge between Neverwinter Nights and Dragon Age Origins in terms of gameplay, where it was D&D setting, but it was much more open, running around, and not tile-based set.
Yeah. Anyway, back to Dragon Age. Inquisition is great. Something that I've become a lot more sensitive to is the quality of writing in games. It's a lot harder for me to... I had a tough... So, Shadows of Mordor is a good example. Like, I had a tough time not rolling my eyes constantly.
Oh my god,
during Shadows of Mordor. The
awful.
thing that saves a game like that is that the mechanics are sharp as hell. And it's just, like, physically enjoyable to play.
Crazy, yeah.
But the writing is terrible, and I won't make excuses for it. It's like, it's bad writing. And so, and it's so typical that you don't think it's remarkable.
I'll argue that the beginning of it is perfect. And that's not so
Okay.
much writing as
I
much
mean,
as it is presentation.
yeah.
But that being your introduction, your training,
The
and
sort
your
of like
everything.
cinematic
the way
quality of it's
Right.
fine, but the writing is
And-
really bad, and I'm not gonna. I don't want to argue. About
No,
it.
no. I won't. I won't argue that point.
I mean, it's bad in the same way that a lot of like Hollywood blockbuster action movies are.
Sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's not unusual, but the writing in Dragon Age is good. Like they know what they're doing and have a good diversity of characters, have good plot points. It's complicated. They've got a lot of background. I just am enjoying it a lot, and I'm not given to like my general gaming MO is not to like play these 40-hour games, 60-hour
Yeah.
games. Like I don't buy a lot of AAA titles for that reason. And so it's like every once in a while I'll binge on, usually it's the next Elder Scrolls game, but I feel like they skipped a year because they released
Online.
online.
yeah.
Just barely.
So
a
now
game.
that's
I think that's
right.
why I didn't play Dragon Age 2 actually, is because that wasn't the big game that I got that year. Right? And so I'm playing Inquisition, and I'm glad this is the one I picked. It's good. I played Shadow.
Does it
of
look
Mordor,
good?
too.
What does it look like?
What does it look like?
No, you don't have to say what it looks like, but does it look good? Like,
Yeah.
is
yeah.
it worth it? Because
I mean,
because I didn't play Origins
so here's the other
until like 4 months ago. I got my wife to play, and I like backseat gamed her through it, and
Origins is pretty
and
dated.
I was like, oh my god,
Does
the
it-
polygons.
Surprising-
Use a couple more polygons.
So here's-
Surprisingly, Origins is pretty
Yeah.
dated, even though it's
It's not that
only
old.
like 5 years
yeah,
old.
it should look pretty
games have
good.
come a long way. We've got a new generation
Yeah,
since then. Here's the thing. For me, I played Origins on PC. I consider myself a PC gamer.
sure.
But I got a PS4, and I recognized that I needed to buy games for it to justify that I bought a PS4. And I
Fair.
got Shadow of Mordor for it. That was what I got.
Which
And I played
looks
that-
beautiful.
I played that on
PS4.
PS4, and I loved it. But I realized there's a PC version of this. I might have liked it on PC. Now, I had a dilemma when Dragon Age came out, whether I was going to get it for PC or for PS4, because I played the original on PC, and I like playing on PC. I got it for PS4 because the alternative is that I would have had to drop however much on a new video card to get
You hit the
to look
DirectX 11.
the way. No,
dilemma that
I have
or-
a decent gaming PC.
Oh, to make it look
But
the.
if I want it to the quality of what it's going to look like on a PS4 at the
Mm-hmm.
resolution that my computer can show it at, I would have had to have
Yeah.
upgraded,
Yeah.
probably. And so I was like, well, I'll just pay $60 and play it on PS4, and it'll be on a bigger TV but a lower resolution, and let's see how that goes. I don't really regret it. I think I've turned a corner as a gamer. Like that feels like a significant thing.
I feel like there are various
such a
kind of
bitch getting things
steps
to work
that
on
you make
PC.
as you age as a gamer, like especially like as a PC gamer, where it just eventually you hit a point where it's like
It's too much effort. It's
I'm
a lot of
gonna
effort.
play with the controller.
Every
now.
game I
remember being
Yeah.
Well, it
WASD
depends on the game.
mouse.
Yeah,
I
it
still-
really
I
depends
remember
on it. It
being
really depends on
being
it.
I played
WASD.
Bioshock Infinite on PC. I will not. I still avoid like the plague playing first person shooters
See,
on
the
console.
thing I have
can't do it.
actually made that.
I can't do it.
You're dead.
It's
You're dead to me.
No, I'm with you. I can't play first person shooters on a console. Can't do it.
I was playing.
I've gotten
Far Cry
a little
4
bit more used to it.
at where was that? Daisho?
God knows.
Yeah. What when we played in the Dells?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was, and I immediately felt weird doing it.
It's
Like,
not.
it
It's
just
not
didn't
great.
feel
It's not a
right
great experience.
to do it.
I've gotten kind of used to it, and so but
They
at
make
the
it. It's like easy mode though. Like
because they
do so many
implemented
little
auto
tricks.
aim
They
and
do so many
stuff
little
like
tricks
that.
to make
you
it
can play
playable.
fine on it,
But I mean, at the
it's not
same time,
same.
it's just kind of like I just feel like picking this
Well,
up and doing
Yeah,
stuff.
that's the one thing I love about the PS4 versus the PC is on my PC. Even though I splurged for wintertime and I got myself an SSD so I can actually like boot
Nice.
up and I play things
in like 3 seconds.
in like
Yeah,
3
it's
seconds. So it's
great.
wonderful.
Yeah, I did that too.
But
not too long ago.
but on the PlayStation 4, they do a really nice job of multitasking where I can be playing Shadow of Mordor And my wife will come in and she'll be like, let's watch something on Netflix. And I can suspend that game and bring up Netflix pretty much instantaneously. And when she goes to the bathroom, I can power down Netflix and put up Shadow of Mordor instantly. Just switch right to it.
PS4 is pretty great.
Yeah,
like,
they do a really good job
like
of the app switching.
the way that they and the way that you can do
switching,
downloads while you're doing the game and all that kind of stuff. Like,
It's almost caught up to PCs.
right.
Yeah.
Right. See that, and that's, how I feel about it. but it never fails. It is always a bitch to get games running on PC.
Yep.
Even modern games where you think they'd have all that stuff figured out because of the diversity of the hardware.
Yep. PS4, it works.
So
it works.
Dragon Age was the last thing I played. The thing I played before that was called Secret. Oh no, what was it called? There was one called Abstract Ritual, and there's a second one called I want to say Secret. Oh shit, I'm forgetting. Secret Habitat. I forget what the exact name of it is. That was the procedurally generated art galleries. Was I telling you about that?
No,
I think
but
I
that
was
sounds
telling you about
awesome.
that at our show. There's a developer named Strange Think, and they publish. I don't know if it's a him or a her. I'm not going to assume, but they publish just like random procedurally generated games occasionally, and they're just wacky. I want to say it's Secret Habitat.
Sounds familiar. That sounds right.
It's like this weird sort of multicolored swamp, and there are procedurally generated art galleries in it.
In the swamp.
And yeah, so like different buildings, and you walk into the building, and there's like art on the walls with a 2-word name that's procedurally generated, and a frame and art. That's
is it real art or is it like procedurally generated?
It's procedurally generated art, but it's not. But it's not bad, right?
That's awesome.
Like some of it is pretty good, and then you walk into this gallery, and there's also like a tape deck, and you press play, and it plays procedurally generated music to go along with your.
Holy shit, that's fucking cool.
And it's just like.
See, this is
like,
what I
all right,
love.
Here's $15.
Yeah, I'll take that.
This is what I love about like kind of where we've
PC game.
Where we've
you would
gone.
never see that on a
Well, sure.
PlayStation Network.
But this is what I love
Nowadays
about where we've got. Like, you know, we've all watched gaming since its infancy.
Oh yeah,
Since it made its break into the mainstream. You know, back in the 80s, and it's like it's. To watch it grow from, all right, look, man, it must be a team of geniuses making this shit, to, man, it must be a bunch of fucking retards making this shit, and a bunch of fucking, you know, really brilliant people with, you know, making this shit, to...
Game's making itself.
Everyone is making everything, and here, your game is made out of mathematical equations, and that's it.
I could go... online right now, download Stencil, download Unity demo, download something. Stencil is a game making program, RPG Maker, Game Maker, like whatever. Yeah. It takes nothing to get started, and
it takes a lot to make something.
It takes a lot to make something,
of course.
But the barrier to entry is essentially zero.
But I mean, even at the same time, if all you have to tell that you really feel that you need to tell is a story,
you can do it.
Then the platform is there to do like a guided story, you know, kind of thing, and you don't have to know about. The
I read
program.
This manifesto. What was her name? At Pixelanti. I can't remember.
Not familiar.
Anyway,
cool name though.
It was she makes like counterculture zine style video games.
Oh, cool!
Like random ass, stick it to the man kinds of
sure.
of things. And it wrote a little manifesto that's really great. Basically saying like anyone can make games. You don't need permission to make games. It doesn't need to be about anything in particular. Just go make a game. Like you can do it. Here's all the tools. There's a million tools. All it takes is a little bit of time. But if you don't have a lot of time, just make something that takes the amount of time that you have. Like you know what I mean? Like there's nothing really. Just go make a game. Games
It's actually
fun
a really cool way to kind of phrase it. Like everyone's excuse is I don't have time.
It doesn't need to be something that takes a lot of time. So I read that and I was all full of piss and vinegar, and so Kate and I made a little game together. And all it is this big monster that like goes back and forth on the screen, and you have to jump over it or it kills you. But every time you jump, your little dude has like little motivational phrases like "You can do it," "I believe in you," and that's it. That's all it is.
That's awesome.
But it was so satisfying to do.
Makes me think of the game. I'm not sure if you played this. I think it's called "All You Have to Do Is Burn the Rope," or something to that effect. Where it's I don't know if that's it. It might be called Burn the Rope or something to that effect. But it's a little dude, and there's a monster, and underneath, over the monster is a chandelier with a rope on it. and there's a staircase to the top of the rope with a little torch next to it.
So, what's the goal of this game?
Well, you have to go all the way across the screen, and then up the staircase, and all the way back to the middle of the screen where you burn the rope. And then I will let the game speak for itself.
Now the game name makes sense. Now I see where I was going with that.
You know, talking about that whole, like, anybody can do it, and it doesn't matter how much time it's going to take you and whatever. I feel that way about music, too. Like, I feel... People don't feel that way about writing.
Well,
like a lot of people, I'll sit down and write a goofy poem. People do that all the time, and they don't feel like they can't because they're not a writer. Or, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
That I feel like writing it's less the case. And I feel like with music, people don't typically just sit down and write a song for fun unless they're a musician, although they should, and sometimes people do. But whatever. Games is even more so than that. Like, no one ever thinks, "Oh, I got a spare hour or two. I'm going to sit down and like work on this game."
I feel like, you know, in all of these practices, everyone feels like there are barriers.
Yeah.
And
they're going away quick.
Yeah,
they're gone.
You know,
it's
at this point, yeah, I guess they are gone.
If you have an interest in a thing, you can do it because, I mean, literally every resource that you need is free.
There's somebody. I follow a bunch of really great accounts on Twitter. I don't post anything on Twitter, but I follow. Like I was talking about Tim Schafer. Okay, I follow Tim Schafer. I follow Devolver Digital, the publishers.
Yeah,
they publish so many awesome things.
Yeah, they do.
I follow Vlambeer, and there was something that got posted that was like, "Hey, if you want to make games, here's like a step-by-step. Here's what you should do. Hey, here are all the..." Oh no, who was it? It was what's her name? I can't talk about this stuff right now. It was a step-by-step thing of if you want to make games, here's what kind of game do you want to make. Okay, here's the tool you should use because that's a tool that already exists. Go use that tool. Okay, do you want to make your own assets or do you want to find free assets? Because there are free assets.
Yeah, right.
So here's where you go for the free assets like sound, music, art.
That's it.
There's so much out there.
You got it. You're done.
Yeah.
All right.
That's nuts.
I think that's
it
for me.
Probably. So, in short, go out and make a fucking game. Do essentially anything that you want to do. Don't make an excuse. Make the thing that you want to do. That's it. That's all it comes down to.
Or at least play
that's the moral of the podcast.
At work, when it comes to getting stuff done, the moral we have is it's easier to do it than explain why you didn't.
Yeah, that's a good moral to have.
That's not true, but I'll.
Thanks. That's very motivational.
To close out, you can find me on Twitter at the Dragon.
I'm on Twitter at the Marcin'S. No, just at Marcin'S.
I wish it was at Square Note.
At Square Note. All right. Yeah, hopefully we'll be able to do this again at some point, probably 6 months from now. Because it took us forever to fucking schedule this one. So, be sure to hit that like and subscribe. And
if you watch it, we'll do another one sooner.
Yes.
If you don't watch it, we won't. No.
So it's a win-win, whatever you want.
Sooner.
Regardless, see you next time. Thanks, guys.
Oh, thank you. That was fun.
That was really fun. That was a lot.
I think we
have a lot, like...
We have a lot of.
There's a lot of topics that I just want to continue on.
I know,
but I gotta pee.
We need to. Holy shit, we hit 2 hours.